Storm gets a new family. Chapter 1. It was there again. Storm could see the top of its head above the wooden fence, and they knew the strange creature on which was back. Springing up, Storm moved towards the fence. His chain jangled on the concrete behind him. He waited behind the tree. The creature's body suddenly appeared. Storm waited until the creature reached for the wooden box beside the gate. Then he pounced, in a fury of loud barking and growling. Some pounced at the creature, and it reared back on its wheels in fright. The chain tightened on Storm's collar. His neck was pulled back, and he leaped on his hind legs. He kept barking as the creature fled. Storm slumped, panting, but that at the same time, giving the pasty was always the best part of his day, and it was over. For the rest of the day, Storm lay on the concrete, lonely, hungry, and bored. The people he lived with were out almost every day, and he was saying to the old wooden box that the people couldn't kennel. Sometimes Storm was let off the chain and was allowed to run around the yard as long as he didn't bark. The echoes in the lawn ran on the vegetable garden during the children's ball games, or bite holes in the frisbees. Storm was sent allowed in the house. House. He hadn't been taken for a walk by anyone since he was a puppy. But that night everything changed. Chapter 2. Storm woke to a bright, flashing light and a rumbling noise. He knew what it was, and he was scared. Even though he was called Storm, he didn't like storms, and thunderstorms were the worst. And the second flash of lightning struck, and another louder thunderclap rattled his kennel. Storm panicked and ran. Storm didn't know where he was running, but when the chain snapped, he realized he had run too far. His head was pulled back. There was a ripping sound, then his head. His head fell forward. His old little collar had ripped. Some bounded towards the tree to get shelter from the hailstones. Before he got there, a lightning flash put the darkness in the tree as well. A lower branch fell onto the wooden fence and smashed it. As the hailstones danced on the grass, Storm leaped through the gap in the fence and escaped into the night. Frightened, frozen, but free. Chapter 3. The next morning, Storm woke to the sound of excited voices from under the bush where he had slept. He could see children chasing balls and each other on the grass, without a chain or a fence to stop. Without a chain or a fence to stop him. Storm ran to join in the fun when he bounced the ball on his head. The children laughed, but the man wasn't happy and they shooed Storm away. As Storm trotted off the field, he saw a small child who was watching the game with her father. She had friendly eyes, and the woman's smart dad told Storm she would love dogs. Storm stood with the child until his mouth cooked meat and headed in the direction. Storm didn't know as much about streets or cars as he did about food. And he was thinking about food when he crossed the road. He heard a screech, but didn't see the car. Then he was under it. He was over and over before he came to a stop in the gutter. So he got up and limped away. He didn't feel the pain in his leg or notice the blood until he lay down in the bushes, weeping quietly to himself. Something noticed the two heads poking through the bushes. The heads belonged to the child with the friendly eyes and her father. They looked worried. The girl looked at Storm's injured leg, but she didn't touch it. "You'll be okay," said the girl as her father rang the SPCA. The girl stayed with Storm when the man from the SPCA arrived. She rubbed Storm's neck and kept him calm as the man treated Storm and carried him to the van. Her sad smile and a friendly wave were the last thing Storm saw before he was driving away. Chapter 4. After 7 days at the SPCA hospital and a 10-week holiday at the home of some very happy people, Storm was feeling much better. He could walk without a limp. The injections and the operation were forgotten, and he was strong enough to play with the other dogs who shared his new home. He didn't even mind having a new collar because it didn't have a chain. Every time someone came to look at the Storm and the other dogs, sometimes they took dogs away with them. The dogs and the people always looked happy, and Storm wondered if that would ever happen to him.
One day.
One day, as Storm stood beside the big window, he opened one eye and staring back at him were two friendly eyes he had seen before, even though her nose was pressed hard and hard against the window. And the smile wasn't sad. Storm knew it was the girl who had saved him.
She tired.
She turned to the man beside her and said, "Dad! Dad! It's him. Can we have him? Can we take him home? Please?" Storm leaped at the window excitedly and tried to lick the face on the other side of the glass. Chapter 5. For Storm, things just got better and better. At his new home, he had a big yacht and a canoe with no chains. He had a boss to chase, Bounceberry, and a playmate with friendly eyes who didn't mind if he put holes in her frisbee. Every day, one of the people in the family took Storm for a walk, or he took one of them for a walk. He learned how to treat roads and cars and the buses properly. On Sundays, he was allowed to play with the dogs, and he was even allowed to sleep inside.